Okay, so the next card we're going to do today is going to be another vintage Christmas card, and I'm sure you'll agree. Again, this one is another great one for people who like the traditional look and feel. Again, this card hasn't been distressed or aged in any way, but the one that I'm going to put together with you today, I'm going to add a little bit of distress into it and add a little bit more glitter to the wreath on Santa's head, and maybe a little bit of glossy accent on the faux pearls. So we're going to go ahead and get started. It's a A5 10th card. So let's go ahead and start with the construction. So this is my card base, which is again a cream pearlized cardstock. So just an A4 sheet folded in half. The sheets from the DVD again have all the panels that you need. So you have the bows, you have the sentiments, choice of sentiments again. So you have in two different colours. You have the bow, you have the faux pearls, you have your backing paper, which already has a mat on it, and on the second you have some pyramid toppers, so layers for pyramid toppers. Now you can use the topper on its own if you want to, or if you want some more dimension you can use the pyramid toppers there. And again we have another bow and ribbon strip and the main backing paper. So as previously mentioned, all these sheets have been tested out on the Brother Scan and Cut, so they do work with that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started on putting the card together. So we'll begin by sticking on the card base. So again, I'm using wet glue today. So I'll go ahead and stick that down to start off with. There we go, that should do it. And place it so that you have an equal border all the way around, like so. Again, using wet glue allows you to be able to move it if you're not quite right. Okay, so the next panel we're going to stick down is going to be this one. So this already has some distress effect on it anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my Vintage Photo Distress ink again with my finger dauber and add a little bit of extra just around the edges. Okay, so I've added some distress ink around the edges. So all I'm going to do now is just to stick that down using the wet glue again. Okay. Make sure we've got it the right way up. And place that in the centre of your card. Like so. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to place the ribbon down, but I'm not going to stick it down, so I want to just gauge how far down that needs to come and then decide. I think I'm going to put the topper there. So what we'll just do is again run some glue just along the ribbon. Just 4 little dots there, that's all it needs. And then stick that to the base of our card. Try not to get your fingers in. I'm going to line it up so it goes just to the bottom of the card. Just there. Okay, so it's actually looking like it's hanging over the edge, but not so that it interferes when it stands up. Okay, I'm just going to take the fingered over and just run it just round the edges, just to take off any white areas or bits that you might have missed when you were cutting. And that just ages it slightly while it's in situ, and it also makes it look like there's a bit of a shadow behind. So that will look rather nice. There we go. It does look a little bit like it's at an angle, but it isn't. It's because that panel there is off-centered slightly, so it's a bit of an optical illusion. Okay, so the next thing to do then is to place our topper into the card. A bit of a hang there. Now I'm going to just add a little bit of distress around the edges of this. I'm not going to add a lot, just enough to cover any raw edges or imperfections in the cutting out. And then if any does get onto the front, it doesn't really matter because it all blends in quite nicely then. There we go. Oops, butterfingers. Okay, so I'm now going to place that, so it's just covering that little part of the bow there. It's not a problem because when we add on the other layers, as you can see by the next one, that will go, and then the bow decoupage layer will go over the top of this, so it'll just make it look a bit more realistic. So we need to find the right place where the topper should go, and then line it up with a hair. There we go, like that. And then again, a bit of an imperfection there, so I'll just take that off. Doesn't matter that we haven't done it on the other one, because all it's really doing is covering just the edges slightly. There you go, it just all blends in. Okay, so this time I'm going to try and line it up with her face. It's just on the corner of her mouth and her eye. Let's see, about there. Yeah. And then the final layer is just on centre space again, so once more, just a little bit around the edge, just to blend it. And then we can stick it down. So his moustache and the wrinkles around his eyes and the line of her eye. And I'd say that was there. Spot on, I think. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to add the sentiment. So again, take a little bit. I'm using the green Merry Christmas one. Or should I use the gold? No, we'll use the green, because the borders are all in green. Right. And then just quickly run that around, hiding any unsightly white bits that might have been left over from the cutting out. Yeah. Suitably lovely. Then I'm going to place that down the bottom so it's overlapping the ribbon just there. Okay, and then we're going to take our ribbon decoupage layer and just give that, whoops, I've got dropsy today, and just take that to the corners. You can, if you've got an non-stick craft mat like I've got, you can literally just stick it down and then run over the edges that way. It makes it easier because it don't stick. And then just go over the edges, blending in any white bits. Which makes it so much easier. Lovely. Okay, and then take a bone folder and then just add a little bit of a curl. And then tiny bit of dimension, and then stick that over about like so. Looking good. So the only thing we need to do now is to add on some pearls or some pearl effects. Now I've got 3 sets of faux pearls here, but I think I'm going to have a look to see if I've got some in my stash, just plain pearls. That will go. Yes, there we go. So take those and then I can add those to the bottom of my card, or the side of my card. I think I'll add 3 up here. And that, I think, three there. Oop, that one's moved. It's got a life of its own. There we go. Okay, so we have the original version using the faux pearls on the sheets and none of the decoupage layers, none of the pyramid topper layers. So just as is, and that version with the real pearls and the pyramid toppers. And again, as I say, you can use some stickles on the holly, or just add some frost or glitter to his beard if you want to, just using some glitter glues. Okay, I think that's all for this card. I hope you enjoyed it and you've got inspired to have a go yourself. I'll get ready for the next one and I'll see you in a bit.